When the radio turned low, the apartment over Riverside looked out across the tracks, where freight trains moved like lonely thoughts, too heavy to come back. Rain rested on the window ledge, street lamps burned below, and every room along the block had finally gone dark and cold. You sat beside the radio in a cream silk evening gown, one shoe left beside the sofa, hair slowly falling down. No crowded clubs, no dancing smoke, no strangers calling names, only midnight pressing softly against the window panes. The radio played a tender tune from some hotel downtown, a small orchestra drifting slow with muted trumpet sound. And then you softly joined the singer, not modern, not sharp, not bright. Your voice carried that true old Hollywood warmth, deeply feminine and light. Rounded vowels, gentle vibrato, elegant vintage phrasing, like records spinning slowly in wartime radio stations. Every line arrived gracefully, smooth as satin gloves, holding tiny traces of heartbreak underneath the love. You sang carefully into the silence, never forcing any note, letting breath and melody stay close against your throat. The orchestra on the radio faded, but still your voice remained, floating softly through the apartment like perfume after rain. A neighbor somewhere down the hall paused beside her door, listening to your distant singing through the hardwood floor. Then near dawn the station crackled, static filled the air. You hummed the final line alone while brushing out your hair. Morning slowly touched the curtains, silver blue and thin, and all the city seemed to hold the sadness you kept in. Post office on Cedar Street closed before the rain began, leaving yellow light reflected across the empty tram. You stayed inside the corner café, near the fogged-up window frame, turning one sealed envelope over and over again. No music from a crowded ballroom, no laughter from the bar, only teaspoons, coffee steam, and headlights moving far. A woman at the counter softly played old records near the sink. Slow piano with faint guitar, too quiet, almost not to think. You rested your chin upon your hand and stared beyond the glass, watching strangers hurry home while midnight slowly passed. Then almost without meaning to, you started singing low, but this voice felt tender, close, and full of held-back glow. Not smoky heavy, not whisper thin, not playful or detached. It carried the warmth of someone still loving after the fact. Your phrases moved very slowly, careful not to break, like fingers touching photographs that time refused to take. You let silence stay between the lines, never rushing toward the rhyme, giving every word the feeling of rain suspended in time. The waiter stopped collecting plates to listen near the hall, while outside tram cables hummed against the wet brick wall. He sang as if the room were empty, as if nobody remained, except the person in that letter whose name you never said. Then near dawn you sealed the envelope, held it one last while before placing it beneath the cup with one exhausted smile. When morning finally touched the street, the cafe lights turned pale, and somewhere in your coat pocket stayed the letter never mailed. The hotel lobby after midnight smelled of roses, dust, and rain. Bellhops whispering through marble halls, while taxis crossed the lane. A pianist near the staircase played softly for no one, slow chords drifting upward long after the crowd had gone. You descended wearing navy silk and gloves the shade of pearl, moving with that quiet elegance old Hollywood women carried through the world. No dramatic diamonds blazing, no laughter loud and bright, only tired beauty and perfume lingering through the night. Inside your purse a telegram stayed folded near your hand, unread since California, unsigned at the end. The pianist changed the melody into a tender 1940 standard, strings joining faintly through the radio behind the hotel counter. Then you began to sing a true classic late 1940s torch performance, smoky silver vibrato, velvet diction, every phrase wrapped in romantic distance. Your voice sounded lower now, more intimate and world-weary, like someone who still believed in love even after it disappeared quietly. You held the quieter notes longest, letting them hover in the air, giving the room that aching warmth only vintage nightclub singers bear. The night clerk stopped turning pages, a porter lowered his eyes, even the chandelier light seemed softer beneath your slow goodbye. You sang of ocean trains and postcards, winter ships and candle smoke, the fragile ways people stay haunted by words they never spoke. Murmur, as if the song belonged more to memory than performance. The piano faded underneath you, rain touched the revolving door, and somewhere in your purse remained the telegram forevermore. The city after rainfall looked blurred around the globe. Taxi lights along the avenue, moving soft and slow. Inside the upstairs cocktail room, the final guests had gone, leaving only empty glasses and one small table lamp on. You stayed beside the piano in a black satin evening dress, tracing circles on your teacup without trying to impress. No dramatic goodbye scene, no tears beneath the light, only the quiet ache of loving someone absent tonight. The pianist played so gently, it almost felt unreal. A slow descending melody, too private to reveal. Then you began to sing beside him with that unmistakable old 1940s sound. Warm radio elegance, soft silver vibrato, classic, romantic phrasing drifting round. Your voice moved gracefully through the room, smooth and deeply feminine, like velvet wrapped around loneliness and candlelight growing thin. Every consonant stayed delicate, every vowel rich and round, a kind of voice once carried softly through wartime ballroom towns. You leaned slightly behind the rhythm, letting lines arrive unhurried, giving every word the feeling of a memory carefully buried. The bartender stopped wiping glasses, listening near the bar, while outside rain touched neon signs beneath the distant cars. Then halfway through the final chorus, your voice nearly broke on one line. Not loudly, not theatrically, just enough to reveal the heart behind. The piano answered quietly, silence gathered near, and for one suspended moment, the whole room seemed to hear how love sometimes stays alive long after people part, like midnight lingering softly between two lonely hearts. The candle near table 5 burned lower every hour, casting little trembling shadows across the wilted flowers. Outside, Chicago rain moved slowly down the empty avenue, streetcars humming through the darkness, wrapped in midnight blue. You sang inside the lounge each Sunday beneath the amber light, wearing long pearl earrings and in satin gloves of white. No loud applause between the verses, no flashy ballroom cheer, only glasses clinking softly and strangers hiding ears. A small orchestra behind you played tender and restrained, violins soft beneath the trumpet, like memories after rain. Then your voice entered quietly, pure authentic 1940s romance, velvet radio warmth, slow cinematic vibrato, elegant phrasing built for slow dance. But unlike before, this voice carried more intimacy, almost as if you were singing to one person privately. You leaned close into certain words, barely above a whisper there, then opened the longer notes gently, like sighs dissolving in air. The man at table 5 looked broken, hands wrapped around untouched wine, watching you as though your singing held some fragment of another time. You sang of letters never answered, summer trains and lovers who wait, the kind of aching midnight poetry old torch singers translate. Then midway through the final chorus, your voice softened almost to speech, a fragile human tenderness just beyond easy reach. Nobody in the lounge moved, even the waiter stood still, and for one suspended moment, the whole room forgot its will. When the final violin faded, the rain still touched the glass, and the man at table 5 remained long after everyone passed. Below your window every morning, roses fill the street, buckets lined along the sidewalk, still wet from melting sleet. But after midnight came another world, quiet, blue and slow, where only passing taxis disturb the fallen snow. You lived above the flower shop, in 2 dim little rooms, with lace curtains near the piano, and perfume mixed with blooms. No glamorous crowd around you, orchestra in sight. Only records turning softly through the lonely night. A moonlit waltz played quietly from an old mahogany radio. Violins warm and distant, brushes moving low. You sat beside the window frame, wearing pale ivory silk, reading old postcards from somebody who never quite returned. Then gently you began singing in a true 1940s romantic style. Soft golden vibrato, elegant breathing, tender phrasing stretched for miles. Your voice carried mature sweetness, not youthful, not cold, like classic actresses singing softly in black and white and gold. Every note stayed graceful and rounded, carefully placed in time, floating slightly behind the orchestra like smoke above the wine. The upstairs neighbor stopped sewing, listening through the wall, while outside snow touched the flower buckets along the empty hall. You sang as if no one remained except the memory in your hands, holding each lyric delicately like fragile wedding bands. Then near the final verse, your voice dropped almost to a whisper-like sigh, and even the violin sounded lonely underneath the winter sky. The record faded into static, the flowers slept below, and somewhere in the darkened city, someone still loved you so. The rain had finally quieted along Mulberry Lane, leaving little silver rivers running down the drain. A lonely streetlight flickered gold outside the corner bar, where closing chairs were upside down and taxis rolled afar. You stayed behind after midnight in a soft champagne-colored dress, helping wipe the empty tables in tired tenderness. No applause remained around you, no crowded ballroom air, only cigarette smoke fading into cold midnight prayer. A jukebox near the hallway wall played one last fragile tune, slow piano, muted brass, and brushes soft as moon. Then you began to sing beside it with a true 1940s nightclub sound. Silky, romantic, vibrato, classic, feminine warmth, every phrase floating gently around. Your voice felt lighter than before, but still richly vintage and deep, like old radio love songs drifting through a city half asleep. You shaped the consonants delicately, softening every line, giving the melody that timeless wartime radio shine. A man outside beneath the awning stopped halfway through his cigarette, listening through the rainy silence as your voice and trumpet met. You sang of small forgotten kisses, train platforms, perfume and spring, the kind of tender midnight sorrow only old jazz singers sing. And near the final chorus, your vibrato trembled slightly thin, not from dramatic heartbreak, just from holding too much in. The jukebox clicked and faded, the room stood dark and blue, and somewhere underneath the rain, the night kept part of you. Pour it slow, don't fill it high. Let it catch the amber glow. There's a tune that won't say goodbye, from a band I used to know. I don't rush, I take my time. Let the seconds drift along. There's a reason, there's a rhyme in every half-forgotten song. One more for the road, my friend. Let the record spin again. If the morning finds me here, I'll just say I never left. Someone laughs across the room, like a line from yesterday. There's a perfume, there's a bloom that just won't fade away. I don't ask what might have been, I don't chase what couldn't stay. I just let the night come in and carry it away. One more for the road, my friend. Let the record spin again. If the morning finds me here, I'll just say I never left. Play it soft and play it low, like a secret meant to keep. Some things only hearts can know, some are better left asleep. So don't rush to dim the light. Let it linger while it can. I'll be sitting here tonight, just a shadow with a plan. The ballroom closed at 2:30. Chandeliers turned dim. Waiters stacked the silver chairs as the night grew thin. Outside, autumn covered sidewalks in copper, gold, and rain, while taxis drifted slowly past the darkened window panes. You remain beside the stage alone in a long pale silver gown, one hand resting on the piano as the city quieted down. No crowd remained to watch you, no dancers crossed the floor, only fallen streamers near the bandstand and echoes near the door. The orchestra leader softly played one final tune for you, a slow romantic standard from the early 40s blue. Then you began to sing, not dramatically, not loudly, but with that unmistakable classic 1940s ballroom elegance. Your voice carried luminous warmth, a graceful, mature vibrato, and the gentle, emotional restraint of women singing through wartime radios. Each lyric unfolded slowly, smooth and deeply feminine, like satin gloves sliding softly across remembered skin. You floated slightly behind the piano, letting the melody breathe, giving every phrase the timeless late-night ballroom ease. A bartender paused beside the curtain, listening in the dark, while rain reflected amber light across the empty parquet sparks. You sang of autumn leaves and station winds, perfume left on coats, the ache of hearing old love songs inside forgotten notes. Then near the final refrain, your voice thinned softly with emotion, not enough to break, only enough to reveal devotion. The piano lingered underneath you, warm and fading low, as dawn slowly touched the ballroom with silver morning glow. And when the last note disappeared, the room stayed hushed a while, like the night itself was trying to hold you there in style. leave it open wide. There's a street we never walked, somewhere on the side. The corner cafe spelled your name wrong in chalk and rain. I almost fixed it with my hand, then let it stay the same. Don't fold, don't fold, let it crease on its own. Some roads only make sense when you walk them alone. Don't fold, not yet, let the edges forget where we thought we would go and where we never met. A taxi slowed, then changed its mind, like it knew too much. The driver looked, then looked away, didn't wanna touch. I kept the coin between my fingers longer than I should. Some things feel more certain when you don't decide they would. Don't fold, don't fold, let it crease on its own. Some roads only make sense when you walk them alone. Don't fold, not yet, let the edges forget where we thought we would go and where we never met. Maybe we were close, maybe just offline. Funny how it turned too small can change the whole design. Don't fold, don't fold, leave it out overnight. If it shifts, let it shift. Maps don't always get it right. Don't fold just yet, we're not finished, I bet. Some places only live where you never went. Snow-covered Union Station in pale December white. Porters moving quietly under lamps of amber light. The final train stood breathing steam against the frozen rails, while somewhere through the station hall a lonely trumpet wailed. You waited near the ticket gate in a long dark fur-lined coat, one gloved hand around a letter you never fully wrote. dramatic crying scene, no desperate last embrace, only the calm exhaustion of love losing its place. A station orchestra on the radio played from a hotel nearby. Slow strings beneath soft piano, like smoke across the sky. Then you began to sing along in that unmistakable 1940s way. Classic romantic vibrato, warm cinematic phrasing, every word melting softly into gray. Your voice sounded richer this time, lower, sadder, more refined, like a woman who had loved deeply and learned to leave quietly behind. You held the longer notes gently, letting them shimmer and fade, the way old wartime singers carried heartbreak through parade halls and rain. Passengers slowed beside their luggage, a soldier lowered his hat. Even the station master listened, without knowing why at that. Then halfway through the final line, the train whistle cut the air, and your voice fell almost silent beneath the steam and prayer. The doors closed slowly afterwards, snow drifted through the beams, and somewhere beyond the winter tracks disappeared your unfinished dream. By morning the station woke again to newspapers, smoke and light. But old men still remembered the woman who sang that night. Don't stay too long, my dear. The night runs thin, I fear. The band won't play that tune again, not like it did back then. Don't look my way too slow. Some things we shouldn't know. A glance can say a little too much and break a careful touch. So don't stay too long. Don't turn this right to wrong. The night is soft, but not that strong. So don't stay too long. Your glass is almost dry. Don't ask the reason why. Some words don't fit inside the air. Once they are spoken there, the lights are leaning low. They flicker, then they go, and shadows stretch across the floor like they've been here before. So don't stay too long. Don't turn this right to wrong. The night is soft, but not that strong. So don't stay too long. Maybe it's better this way. Maybe we leave it unsaid. Something sounds sweeter at night than when they're living instead. Don't stay too long. Just let it drift along. We had a place we don't belong. So don't stay too long. There's a key left in the door tonight, turned but not all the way. The hallway light hums soft and thin, like it's trying not to stay. The coat still hangs with folded sleeves, not shaped like anyone, and dust draws lines along the floor where footsteps used to run. The clock forgets a second here, then makes it up too late, like it can't decide which moment it should imitate. Key left in the door, half in, half out, like something changed its mind. Rooms don't close, they just pretend to leave a part behind. Don't push it in, don't pull it back. Let it stay between. Some things live in that small space where they've already been. The window breathes a colder air than what the night allows. Curtains shift without a cause, like they remember how. A glass stands still beside the sink, one fingerprint remains. I trace it once, then let it fade, like it might hold a name. The floorboard near the doorway bends before it settles flat, as if it keeps expecting wait that won't come back to that. Key left in the door, half in, half out, like something changed its mind. Rooms don't close, they just pretend to leave a part behind. Don't push it in, don't pull it back, let it stay between. Some things live in that small space where they've already been. If I turn it just enough to hear the metal speak, will it tell me what it knows about the nights I keep? Or will it stay a silent line between the then and now, like every unfinished thing we never learned to allow? Key left in the door, I leave it so, no need to make it right. Some endings only feel like ends when you shut them tight. And if the morning finds this place exactly as it's been, the key will still be waiting there, not out and not within. The hallway hums in a tired key, like wires that learn to sigh. Room 312 still smells like rain from a coat you left to dry. The lamp flickers in uneven beats, not quite off, not quite alive. I trace the ring your glass once made, like it might still survive. No collar on the midnight line, just static dressed as you. I let it speak in broken tones, like liars sometimes do. Don't send a note, don't leave a name. The door already knew how silence walks in tailored shoes and never looks like truth. The elevator stutters twice, then changes its mind again. A suitcase waits without a tag, like it forgot who it's been. I keep the window half unlatched for air that doesn't stay, and count the steps that pass my door but never choose to stay. No collar on the midnight line, just static dressed as you. I let it speak in broken tones, like liars sometimes do. Don't send a note, don't leave a name. The door already knew how silence walks in tailored shoes and never looks like truth. If I rewrite the hour wrong, would it bring you back inside? Or are we just two careful ghosts who learn too well to hide? No caller on the midnight line, I let it fade to gray. The room keeps all it shouldn't keep and throws the rest away. And if you ever dial again, let it ring not through. Some voices only sound like love when they're no longer true.